Every living being that comes into the world, regardless of whether it belongs to the community of beings we call terrestrial mankind, or whether it belongs to those forms of life which manifest themselves through what we are accustomed to recognize as animals, plants and minerals, is without exception subject to the experience of life. As the experience of life can only exist as an interaction between two forms of energy, namely, the energy radiating from the universe in the form of our surroundings and the energy radiating from our own inner being in the form of our manifestation. And as this interaction in the form of the experience of life is really identical with the creation of our own existence, it must be clearly evident that we, each of us, constitute a by no means insignificant factor in this creation of our fate. And this especially so owing to the fact that in a certain area, we do possess a so-called free will. This is the same as to say that every living being is facing an ocean of forces, the collective manifestation of which under the concept of nature, in the form of the elements, in the form of substance or matter, in the form of thought climates and especially in the form of fellow beings, is able to affect it through a scale of greatly differing forms of manifestation, ranging from the most dreadful forms of unpleasantness to the most wonderful and radiant forms of pleasantness. This gigantic organization of forces may then just as easily affect the individual fearfully and horribly as it may affect him pleasurably or happily, and is therefore in equal degree a contributory factor in the creation of a happy as well as an unhappy fate for the individual. As I mentioned before, we are not entirely at the mercy of these tremendous forces, for in reality, within the area governed by our free will, we constitute the dominating factor in the regulation of the influence of these tremendous forces upon our own existence. But again, as normally the most important factor behind our free will is our own knowledge, it depends on the scope of this knowledge whether we will meet a happy or unhappy fate. For if this knowledge does not cover an awareness of those realities, which are identical with the unavoidable and necessary basis for a full harmony between our manifestations and the world energies which will promote happiness, then we shall, in the same degree as our awareness deviates from it, meet a less ideal fate or experience of life. Consequently, our knowledge will in reality constitute the dominating factor in the regulation of our interaction with the influences directed towards us by nature. As we come to understand how to avoid those forms of energy that are uncomfortable and displeasing, we shall come more and more under the influence of those forms of energy that are pleasing and comfortable.